Open the meeting with the karakia, everybody please. Feel free to Thank you, everybody. We have an apology from Councillor Isaacs, who happily is in a much warmer place than us. Thing. And I think that's the only one. And we have Councillor Clark online. Hello, Rachel. Sorry, you can see only the back of my head. Is she there?
Yes.
We need you. We need to be able to see you, Rachel, because under the law, if we can't see you, we don't know you're there. Sorry. So you have to just sit there forever for the whole meeting. And sorry about that. Otherwise, you might turn off your, or you might just walk away.
Sneak away.
Yeah, that's just what most of us would like to do in meetings.
See you next.
Okay, so are there any particular conflicts that are not already in the conflicts register that anybody wants to know? Okay, I just want to have one acknowledgement, and that's for the former councillor Olds. I think we have to put it on record. He hasn't died. He has. He thinks he's going to another place. We'll see. So just to acknowledge his record at this council, he was an elected member from 2013 to 2019, and again from 2021, of course, till this year. He's chaired a number of committees, the Waterways Subcommittee. Colin has been particularly active in Featherston. He was the former chair of the charitable trust there. He's been instrumental in the Featherston Men's Shed, the Anzac Club, former chair. And I only found this out. He was instrumental in getting the first rapid charging station for electric vehicles in Featherston. I wish he'd done one in the other two towns as well. He was on the Ruamahanga Whaitua Committee and was pretty involved in the local Waters Done Well work. And also he actually does a lot of work with the Japanese Peace Garden in Featherston, which is really helpful actually, kind of like the unofficial custodian. So he was nominated for an award with LG&Z in 24 for all of the work he's done with local government and was one of the 3 finalists. So the late Adrian Staples once said, large councils have staff to do all these things, small councils don't. South Wairarapa has Colin.
Yeah, exactly.
That's how it works around here.
Yeah.
So I just think we'd all like to place on record our thanks to Colin for his years of service here. He, by the way, he's still helping out his garden and things like that around. We haven't lost him completely, but he's not on the council anymore. So he won't be watching this, but let's put on record our thanks to him for everything he's done for Featherston and South Wairarapa over a long time, starting from 2013, which is a long record of service. So, I need to have a mover and a seconder for the apology. Thank you, Chris and anyone actually. What's your name again? Councillor.
Well, turn around this way so you can see.
Yes, I can see the name. Right. Confirmation of minutes. The council held on 28th of May. Who was here? You're all here. Thank you. Moved by Councillor Taylor and seconded by Councillor Ruth. Yes, you can.
It's 13.4. Just the wording there. I was just referencing back to the Multi Standing Committee last reunion, and I'd just like it to be corrected, the wording here to read acknowledging how Rapaki Road, that name came about from the previous owner, and that there should also be acknowledgement that the particular whenua was their recommendation already had a prior name to the naming of that. So it was just to acknowledge the foot of how.
Okay.
Okay.
And if you're all happy with that, we'll get some, tighten the wording up of that afterwards, but yeah. On that one, thank you, I remember that discussion. Any other amendments to these minutes? So we'll just accept the amendment of the resolution. All those in favour, aye, against, no, carried. But participation, none, and urgent business, none. Sorry, I skipped over those. Matters arising from the previous minutes, nothing. Okay. Right, now to the substance of the meeting, adoption of the annual plan. So somebody asked this morning why this was all over the media when we haven't adopted it. That's because under the law, we have to publish all our papers, and it wouldn't quite be a good look to actually have the annual plan done and public excluded. So we are obliged to publish everything, unlike central government where cabinet doesn't publish anything and everything is super secret. Local government is very transparent. So basically, we have to put this in, and the media just assume this is how it will be. I won't take this opportunity to counsel you against changing the rates increase because it would be quite difficult at this late stage to do that. We'd have to go back and redo a lot of the work that we've done. But we have the recommendations in front of us, which I'll move and Councillor Bosley will second. Now, I don't know how you want to do this, people. Is there anything else that needs to be said, Jan or Charlie? Charlie, okay, we'll sit you at the end. Thank you. Do you want to say anything or?
Not particularly, just you all know the highlights that we worked very hard on a line by line review in the spring with all managers.
Yeah.
Managed to find some savings there. There were also substantively the ability to have a lower rates rise than was in the LTP is due to the lower interest and depreciation on projects where the timing has been pushed back as well. And then the decision, guidance was made to add some more into the infrastructure resilience fund, which is very sensible in light of weather events that just happened.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the highlights of it, which were all mentioned in the media release last week. So
I think it's fair to say we've got a big year coming up where we've got some of that delayed infrastructure being done, and so it's going to be quite a significant year, the one we're about to move into. We've got part of this approval is the schedule of fees and charges. We have already changed the dog ones, but the rest it's pretty minimal. And I don't know whether anybody wants to ask any questions about the schedule of fees and charges. Any queries, anyone?
No.
We get a big chance to go over this, starting from, I recognise you, Aidan, starting from after, basically when we've done this, we'll start on the long-term plan. And that's where we burrow into these things in some detail. But this year we haven't really made those changes. Councillor Ellams.
Thanks, Mayor Fran. The thing that I just want to note is reading through the annual plan. It's just probably been a typo, but page 117 under the water rates. There's a table that talks about the rate installment date due, and then underneath that is just a simple sentence. Properties with high metered water usage will have an additional reading completed in January 2026, and probably just needed to be 2027.
So thanks for that. Have we said, we've given minor editorial changes. There's a mistake in the intro as well about the NZTA rate, which is incorrect what we said there. So there will be some little things like that, but they're not changing any of the substantive numbers. It's not the numbers, it's mainly in the editorial part.
yeah.
Thanks for that, Aidan. Any other little things like that? Anybody? Yeah.
I think just from a reporting basis, is this kind of set in structure where it'd be nice to see last year's And this, you have to put in just one way. I thought so, because it's very hard to kind of fact check as you're reading through this, that
There was actually a piece of legislation that specifically specifies how these things are laid out.
Yeah, we talked about that
Yeah.
recently, about what we had to do and what words we had to use and how we could change it. And there's not that much wriggle room, unfortunately. It's pretty weird, actually. It probably needs updating, but
the colours.
what he would have sat in the audit office years ago.
Yep.
Yeah.
Any, on page 8 under capital expenditure,
Can you just speak up a bit, Councillor?
just on, capital expenditures, just a small, omission there. And the end of that paragraph, it's got page X.
Oh, we haven't put in page number, yeah. Look, if there's anything else like that, can you just give them to us at the end of the meeting? It has been read through several times, but you kind of see what you see and think you're seeing. Thank you for that. Councillor Taylor?
Just for the purposes of the record, the carryover of the 7.3 under spend on the capital budget, the intent is to reinvest as much as that into.
Yeah, yes,
It will still be used for the
Yeah.
same purpose, yeah. In fact, there's got a paper on that somewhere.
it's into the project timings, but because they crossed the financial year, we would like to ask permission to carry over. Yeah.
There's a little bit of paper somewhere that tells you about the CapEx carryover and it's what it's for.
Certainly looking through some of those projects, while that list, I think, was was it the 30th of May? Some of those projects that have listed have progressed forward anyway in that time. So
Yeah.
they're closer to finish than
Yes, they are.
they were
Yeah.
on the 30th of May.
Exactly. Anything else on the adoption of the annual plan? Nothing. We've done quite a lot of work on this, especially on the numbers. And it would have been great to get a much lower rates rise, but we are getting through a lot of work at the moment and next year will be even bigger actually. We've kept it below what we said it would be, which is good. And I just want to also take this opportunity to thank Charlie and the team and all of the staff actually have worked on this. It's been quite a big effort this year. Thank you. Okay, well, in the order that we have to do it, we are adopting the annual plan and then we're doing the rates, penalties, etc. Seems a bit weird we do that after we've adopted the annual plan. You do, yeah, you have to do it, yeah. Okay, so all those in favour, you say aye.
Aye.
No, carried, thank you. Is councillor Clark voting too? Yes. Thanks, Rachel. Okay, let's go on to the setting of rates, due dates and penalties, which is 9.2. Sorry.
Effectively, this turns the budgets that you've just approved, thank you very much, in the annual plan, sets them against the approved rating policies or revenue and finance policies, which we have not changed this year, and comes out with the rates figures that people see on their rates notices.
On this paper, I've just had a question about 29 June, it doesn't note on the water races, but on page 116 of the papers, it just talks about the differentials on Longwood and Moral water races, but it's silent on the Greytown urban area. And that maybe we need a little note about that in here.
Yeah, absolutely. The Greytown urban area is in the stormwater rate.
Yeah, but it doesn't say that. And people in Greytown might think they're going to be having another rate on that. So if we could just mention it there. Any other questions or comments on the paper itself, which is, as Charlie said, just as the spin-off from the annual plan? Right. So we've thrashed out a lot of the stuff. We know we can't, we're not changing the rates formula this year. But we have some ideas for looking at in the long-term plan, which I think will be interesting. And we'll be having some good conversations with our community about that because that's an important area for them. Okay, if everybody is happy with this, I'll move the recommendations and councillor Archer's going to second them.
Yeah.
All those in favour, aye. Thank you, and that includes any editorial issues such as the one I noted. Golly, we're storming through quick. Local government, thanks very much, Charlie. Local government amalgamation. It's just really a progress, something to do, so we've made some decisions as we go. I think in the next few weeks, we're going to get a lot more information on this, and we'll need to talk with you a bit more. But this is receiving the Morrison Low report. We will be getting another one from Martin Jenkins. And we need to talk with the community, and the problem we've got is the shortage of time, actually. So we're still going on how to do that, how to do a survey that is actually scientific and not just people putting their hands up. But we've got a few weeks to work that out. Does Jen, do you want to say anything else?
No,
Yeah.
self-explanatory. We just wanted to get some resolutions formally accepted around the table about next step.
Yeah. Chris?
Is the report clear enough that we're looking at the Wairarapa option with Martin Jenkins, and the Wellington region's looking at the entire Wellington region, but including the Wairarapa?
And we're in that work stream.
Yeah, as long as, like, I just think
Yeah.
whether it's worded strong enough that we're actually. the
We're in both
Wellington
work
option is
streams. Yeah, the Wellington option is alive and well. Hang on. It says or regional Wellington application. It's got them both in. See it?
including Wairarapa,
Yeah, all of us. We should say all of.
because it's kind of like, what are the boundaries of the Martin Jenkins report for the Wellington option? Like, where have they drawn the line on that? Like,
Okay, it's the current region. The current region. So all of the current region, we'll just add that to that, but yeah, including all of the current region. Okay, yep.
And we have to aware of, like from Wellington to, because we can only really put one proposal forward to show that we're ready.
Yeah, but we can, well, this was asked, I don't know whether any of you watched the Zoom with the minister the other night, where he was asked that question. And he's basically said you can put in some provisos. That's my word, and that's where we'll do it. Yeah, yeah. So we stay with the Wellington workstream right to the bitter end, because that's how we actually help shape any representational model, which if we were in that area would be key. That's the key issue for us. Yes. So we don't leave it. We're not leaving that chance. Yeah. Yeah. Any other questions on this? This is really just to get a formal resolution at this stage. It's Adrian, sorry, Cal.
Just want to make an observation that that through Wairarapa councils, it's just great that we're all working together in the direction moving forward. There's certain looking at the media as well as social media. There's a lot of other councils around the country that are uncertain and are anti the process and pushing back about the time frame that has been imposed. But I'm just happy that we're moving forward to in a direction and hopefully forging our own path.
That's true. I think a number of councils, like I've heard some smaller councils say, we've got a really good balance sheet. We don't want to take on the debt that the metro next door to us will have. But actually, there are tools for managing that, like differential rating, etc. And I think they've got to also think about the future, about they might be in a good spot at the moment with their infrastructure, but in 10 years' time, they might not be. So it's very long term. You've got to think about your long term infrastructure, basically. And some of them aren't. They're thinking about the here and now. So, yeah, you're right. It has caused a lot of angst, and there's no doubt that the short time frame has been very difficult actually for all councils.
Thank you, Worship. Yeah, I sort of feel this $14 million hangs over us like this sort of Damocles in terms of making a direct, an informed decision. And there's some sectors of the community that feel we should go the Wellington route because of that. Yeah, we don't really, I guess we're no closer to getting clarification from
We're getting more.
see what that is.
Yeah.
Of course, given the Wellington Water example, we've
Yeah.
managed to make massive savings by not being with them. We might be able to do the same thing with the regional council, but
Yeah.
by moving away from that, I sort of feel the sooner we can get clarification like that.
And we'll get
Is
that.
that-
We need to have some discussion about that
Yeah.
in detail, but it could be the opposite, of course. It could be go the other way. There's a lot of things, the expertise that sits in the regional council that we would have to employ. And I'm not sure what's in that first number they gave us. So they're doing that work now. Martin Jenkins is looking at that. Yeah.
Thank you.
Councillor Taylor.
Just to say, 0.5 is obviously noting the outcome modelling will be assessed side
Yeah,
other models.
yeah.
In your view, when you're doing this assessment, what are going to be the big elements?
Two issues only. One is affordability and the other is voice, local voice. So we want a council that we're part of in some way, okay, that we can, our ratepayers can afford, and we want a council that gives us maximum voice. We do not want an Auckland model where the local boards don't have enough delegated authority. And nor do we want an unaffordable Wairarapa only unitary where our rates was just soar. So it's really cost and voice that are the two big things. And I think it's really important we just keep that in mind and just, keep everything, keep it simple. That's what it means. It's not simple, of course, because we won't have the data. But those are the two issues. And we get the chance at some stage to talk about models. That means, do we propose whatever we come out with? Do we have a rural ward? We can look at that again. And the government have said they will do bespoke models. And I've taken that to assume that the population formula, which has killed all of our stuff in the past, might not have to apply. We might be able to have a rural ward, for example, in Wairarapa. That would be pretty useful. I don't know. We'd need mesh block data to see how that would work. But there are options now which are not possible under the current Local Government Act. So, yeah. Okay. Anything else? Can I just say one more thing that I think is really important? Some people are using the word identity in relation to either a Wairarapa or a wider Wellington regional. This has nothing to do with identity. If you look at Wellington City, and many of you have been Wellingtonians and lived there, you've got different suburbs and communities who are completely, different from everyone else. So you could never say that Newtown or Kandala have lost their identities because they're both part of Wellington City, or that Oriental Bay or Lyle Bay, are kind of merging into one, generic seaside suburb. Then, they have their own identities. Identities are developed because of history and the community and the people in them. It's not anything to do with local government boundaries. And I think we have to be very clear about that. What we're looking at that's important is voice. We want to make sure that our communities have voice and decision-making power. Their identities will stay. With Martinborough will always be Martinborough, Puranoa, Featherston, Greytown. They're not going to change somehow, become like Lower Hutt or whatever, they have their own identities already. And I think it's really important that we get the nomenclature right about what is important for us.
So that we just need to lock in that representation and that voice
The voice of the that is the
for our communities as opposed to our identity.
Identity. Wairarapa is different from Wellington or the Hutt or Porirua, and and they will always be. They'll have their own too.
And through you, Chair, just to say thank you to the council staff, because I think the website has a good range of information
Yes,
on it,
it's,
right at the very top, from the background material, the Morrison and Lowe report, your public meetings, the information that you've used.
Yeah.
So it's good that it's all sitting there and will be added to presumably as we go along.
yep, we're going to have to put a lot more on, so.
Yep.
We've been thinking about how we get out to people, and I mean, the media is not 100% far from it. So maybe it's a letterbox drop of some sort to make sure everybody gets information. Anyway, any more discussion on that? Okay, we're going to move the resolution. Thank you very much. All those in favour, aye, against, no, carried. Thank you. Me and Chris, I think. Yeah. Oh, here's a good one. Probably have a debate about this. Yes, we will. National Music Centre. So we'll get it on the table by having it moved. It'll be moved by Councillor Watson. And anybody want to second this? Okay, thank you, Councillor Rickney. I saw you first. We've got an either or. Have a bit of a discussion about how this would work. First of all, why should we fund it, and then what the option should be if we want to fund it.
Sure.
Go for it.
Yeah, thanks, my friend. Yeah. The sort of cultural activities that have a regional basis, I just feel should be supported regionally. And this is, I'm happy to support this because it's a very reasonable request, and the amount that the various councils are being asked around the whole whole region is pretty modest. And so on that basis, I can support it. And given the role of the the cultural centre like Wellington and the outreach to there's a lot of mutual interlinking. The Wairarapa, going both ways, and the proposal here isn't just for something that focuses on one style of music. It's very wide in terms of the film industry, digital broadcasting, and so on. And I think our kids at Kuranui sort of head that way, and in that context, I think it's a very reasonable request to seriously consider.
Councillor Elms. Yep.
Through you, thank you, my friend. While this is a noble application, I don't believe it is core council business. I think we have, and then while it's only $11,000, we have higher priorities across South Wairarapa that require funding. For example, the February storm event, we're looking at a price tag of $1.4 million. We've had the April storm event, which the costs haven't been calculated as yet, as well as other infrastructure priorities. So I see that there's a number of options here. I would be voting for option 4. Option 4, council decides not to.
Oh, sorry, option.
National Music Centre.
Yep. Okay. Yep. Councillor.
Yeah, I was just having a look too, and I was thinking, like, between the 3 Wairarapa councils, $47,000, are we getting really a lot? What are we getting for that? So I'm sort of that. And what do we see? I see that they've written up about Kuranui College, but how often do we get interlinking through that organisation? So I was probably thinking on sitting at 4 too, option 4.
Councillor Archer.
I like our boards all have what Rupert was saying. We have music, we have festivals. This is tourism, and this is a cultural institution very close to us. And I believe if we can link them into committing to doing something for our region that could actually bring investment here and actually bring a bit of tension in the music realm, And I think it's for $11,000. We could easily make that in one weekend with an event here with the NZS SDO. So I'd go for option 2 and let them build a better case and put them against the opportunities of the other people in economic development.
We don't even know whether we'll have any grants next year.
Yeah.
I think I'm in the camp of Councillor Bruce and Councillor Bacon. I think there's limited amount of grant money floating around, and we do struggle to meet those applications that we do get. I prefer that our money stayed local. And just broadly, this sort of money comes from central government for these sorts of things, and we're in a climate currently where cultural heritage, which would be the normal place where funding would come from, is having its budget cut. So we're being asked to subsidise something that would really be a central government function.
Not sure that they would have done this building. They don't do CapEx, central government, they never have. They do OpEx. Yeah.
Back up, Councillor Taylor said, also in the same camp with Aidan and, sorry, Councillor Evans and Councillor Baker.
Other councillor.
So I'm the same camp as the Deputy Mayor on this and Councillor Baker and Elam's. I just don't, this is core business for council. There are other funding avenues for them, and there's better use of our funds that we have got available. So I'll be voting against it. I'll be going for option 4 as well.
I want to talk on this.
My opinion is that when everything's being cut, I like Councillor Archer's opinion to be able to support the arts. It's a one-off. We do have money this year and this financial year to contribute to something like this. We may not have that again. And I just would hate to see the arts always put on the back burner and let to die. And how we could contribute to, and to keep this alive. It's important from my perspective, but would like to see more engagement, like Councillor Archer has alluded to feature it more in the Wairarapa plan.
Rachel? She doesn't have her hand up. That's all right. She can.
I was just going to say I'm in support of option 2 for the reasons that have been outlined.
Yeah. Okay. I just want to speak on this. I mean, normally I would say no to anything that's not roads or bridges, but we always, the arts are always the ones that get jettisoned first. And actually, it was interesting in these governments just held its round of, they call it Scrutiny Week. They never had that when I was there, where people can ask questions of the ministers and the CEs. And there was a patchy question put up about the patchy statement about, they're not worth it, blah, blah, save all this money. And then somebody referred to a some kind of analysis that was done about the economic contribution of the arts, which is absolutely, it's huge actually, and it's underestimated. And it was quite interesting. I'm going to try and get hold of it. I haven't, sorry, been a bit busy, haven't done that. But this is actually to do the actual National Music Centre. If we have kids who want to do anything in this area, they go to Victoria University, and this is where they'll be studying. And not all our kids will be, in fact, most of our kids won't be farmers, and probably not even truck drivers. But if they want to do something tertiary and they're interested in the arts, this is where they'll go. This is symphony orchestra, Victoria University, etc., etc. The paper says that the other 2 councils are not contributing, and they're not sure about Wellington. Wellington is contributing, I've been told. I mean, obviously they will, it's in their backyard. But to me, this is a kind of a test of regionalism, if you want. I mean, we've been pretty clear to our management about not doing any fripperies, But quite honestly, I just think this needs to go ahead, and it will be big for some of our kids in the future. And as Councillor Archer has said, we should be using this as a lever to them to say, well, what are you doing in Wairarapa? You know, the ballet does their tutus on tour, remember? And they come to the regions, and they might not come to Martinborough or Featherston, but they'll put Masterton or Carterton Event Centre, event centre they come to. And maybe we need to get more of that from the music sector as well. So they're actually touring here and coming to some of our events that we have. I'm not keen on the grants funding round because we don't even know what that's going to look like yet, frankly. Who knows what the grants funding round would be. I'd go for option one, just find it now, because I do know at the end of every year you haven't done all your okay, it's right. It's probably going to be one plank. No, they don't use planks. One bit of iron on one bridge, Aidan. Probably is not going to make any difference to whether we fix the bridges or roads, but it would be a huge gesture, and it will be. It's not very substantive, but it would be a massive gesture, I think, to the arts sector and the region. So we actually support, you know, soul and the minds and the hearts of people. And although most of our money goes on roads and bridges and water, we know that has to. So I don't know how we might have to change the resolution if we want to put in what do we do?
You either vote on these two, and if they vote against, then that's option 4.
Okay, so option 4 is no, but I'm thinking there was another one. The grant funding round, the option 2 is not in here, is it?
No, we were looking at either this year or a one-off allocation.
Yeah, I know, but people here have raised the issue of a grant. They apply to the grant. The grants round next year, which I think is, frankly, it's not even worth considering. It's such.
And just to note, in the last grants round, we also declined applications such as those came from Aratoy and other people who were outside the region because there was no actual demonstrable economic benefit in the same as with.
No, sorry, Council, we declined them because our terms of reference said we are not going to fund anyone from a grant who's outside of our district. That's why we were declined. And Aratoy we have funded in the past, but our grants criteria this year said not from outside the district.
With option 1, could we put in there to secure something from them for us, like an actual agreement for them to?
Well, I mean, we could amend it and say that we need to enter into a negotiation with them, probably the symphony orchestra, to actually, I don't know what the words are, do something in our area. I mean, but I'm just thinking about the kids who are interested in the arts. Where do they go, actually? They don't get trained there. They go into Wellington and then. Rachel, sorry, I'm told. Councillor Park.
Just to add to the conversation, just saying we do have a strong ex-Wellington community and strongly cultural and music activity in the South Wairarapa particularly, I think, and I think this contribution supports that connection and that level of activity.
Thanks, Councillor. Councillor Ellens.
Thanks, Mayor Fran. I certainly acknowledge that a lot of the children from South Wairarapa go to Victoria to study. I've had a child go to Victoria to study. I've helped support her in her study of Victoria while she didn't do music. However, I still feel that this is it's a nice to have. If we're in a better, if this council and this as an organisation was in a better, and our ratepayers were in a better position financially, I'd certainly be considering it. But just at this period of time, I believe that the Bank of Council should just be funding our priorities.
Anyone else want another go?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Another resolution.
Yeah.
In terms of.
You might
Yeah.
be shadow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
So
Yeah. In terms of regional interlinking cooperation, it's something we're going to have to face a relationship with Aratui quite soon, and that's the thing that's bubbling away underneath. So this is something, one positive thing we can do. I acknowledged maybe the rewriting of maybe sort of necessary. It would cost the NZSO at least 50 grand to get over the hill.
That's the problem.
So we're giving you 11 grand, but you got to come over here.
The whole orchestra.
No, I know, but even so, yes. So it's a hell of a thing, and I just like the principle of people, a regional outlook and not being parochial, and everything's very reasonable. It's modest and it's creative. So, yeah.
Okay. Now you had a foreshadowed amendment. We need.
It's just we need just another 3, which would be council, not fund, the National Music Centre.
Okay.
You can't do that.
No, we can't. We either do one of these. If we don't choose any of these, we're not funding it.
Right.
You have to, but the vote has to fail. You can't bring a motion that's a direct negative of one that's already on the table.
But
It's in there as an option in the paper.
Yeah, but you just don't
we
vote.
don't vote for this. But the other one that's been suggested is that we amend to either of them actually, and say that if we are providing any funding, we actually discuss with the Symphony and the National Music Centre how they can actually provide some music. Sometimes in South Wairarapa, it wouldn't be the whole orchestra, I don't think, Rupert.
I know how it works.
It would be a string quartet or something like that.
Oh, shit.
Oh, that'd be worth more than 2.
Contributions.
Right, bring my orchestra over again. We've done it once already.
Sorry, what was that?
The orchestra I play for,
Yes.
amateur,
Yeah.
pure. We're very good. We did Matarik 3-4
Yeah.
years ago. Wow.
On the other hand, if we were to approve this, I think we've got the idea that we're going back to them and saying we need to see you here in some way in Wairarapa. And it's not just in probably South Wairarapa, we'd be talking about somewhere in Wairarapa. So I think what we do is we'll vote on the and
I'll move that.
then they've got A or B. And if they're both lost, we're not doing anything. I think I've got that right. So which one should we do first? Which one first? A. Do A first, I guess, which is the one off this year. Right. So we're going to put 2A, which is a one off this year from savings. All those in favour, please say, oh, we're going to have a vote.
We need a move and second.
We've got a mover and seconder for the resolution. We have. You didn't, yes, we did. That was Councillor Watts.
So Fran, to be clear, what's happening now?
We're going to vote on 2A, and if that fails, we vote on 2B, and if that fails, we have not given them any money. 2A is the one-off one, and 2B is the one-off in the long-term plan, which we'd consult on.
Right.
And then neither of those means we're not giving them any money.
Okay.
That makes sense, everyone? Okay, yes, we've got the movement and second of that came at the beginning. Okay, we'll do 2A. All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those against, please say no.
No.
Well, how did Rachel vote? Can we do a show of hands? So first one is 1, 2. All those in favour of 2A, please raise your hand.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Rachel? No, is Rachel voting for it?
Yeah.
5. Is
5.
that right?
If I missed Andrea.
All those against is 4. So that one's carried, actually. Right, surprisingly. Thank you, Paul.
Thank you.
We'll help you out on that one, Aidan. I'm prepared to do a passionate defence of the arts.
It's all good. That's what this table's about.
Okay, thank you for that. But we will be approaching the National Music Centre and saying, you guys have got to be here. You can't just ignore 70% of the land area of the region, even though only 10% of people live here. We still have an interest in the arts here. So Okay.
I'm a big supporter of the arts thing, you know that, but I just think it's solid.
Money, good.
And it's not just about the money, and I just think it'd be-
Understand
Yeah,
that.
good discussion.
I would have a hard time justifying the people who applied for a grant and the economic round didn't get it, but we just give them a link and that's.
I understand that, councillor. We all will be in that position,
Yeah.
but you know what? We're not dishing out a whole lot of money all the time to frivolous causes. We were careful about our grants, and we gave them to the economic development groups. And this is actually a long-term cultural, social, and hopefully economic development too, if I get this thing right. And because our kids will go there. Okay. No doubt we'll be beaten up for it, and you can all say you voted against it because it's in public, it's not cabinet.
Names voting against going to be recorded.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you.
Okay, we've got a Lagoima policy update, thank goodness. This probably costs us more than $11,000 a year, the Lagoima requests I've made. We have multiple staff working on these now, and I have been working on them too, and the chief executive. Lagoima requests cost us a lot of money, probably arguably much more than the 11K that we've just granted. Right, everybody's read the paper. Do you have any questions, anybody? Yes, councillor Archer.
Is $38 for a half an hour enough?
The legislation.
Benefit of rates.
That's it.
Yeah. It is not enough, no.
But it's in the
So all you can charge, yeah. Councillor Ellens.
Thanks, Mayor Fran. How often is this policy going to be applied? And because in the past we have council staff have certainly serviced a huge number of Lagoimas, which have cost time when our staff should have been active on other matters. So I'm interested to see how often this policy and this charging policy will be implemented going forward.
Through the chair, this will become standard policy from 1 July 2026 if you approve the changes. So every Lagoima would be subject to review under this policy. If it requires a large volume of information, then we would approach the person who submitted the Lagoima and ask them to refine, if they don't want to pay, what it would cost to gather that information.
Right.
So this isn't a blockage. This is just saying, if you want this information, it would cost us this. Do you want to redefine your scope to make it a more accessible information channel? Because sometimes these things can be, we want all the information back to 2010. And we, that would take an awful lot of time and effort to do. So this is about redefining and making people think about what they're actually asking for. In some cases, the question isn't clear.
Yeah. Thank you.
Question from councillor Clark.
Yeah, just like in point 8 and point 9 particularly, but just in response to Janice's explanation, like, do people actually have to do a Lagoima? And if they can be clearer about their question and it's simpler to manage, I mean, that's the beginning of the conversation, which is what Janice, you were just addressing. So I think it's helpful to have these processes in there.
Yeah, redefinement will always be our priority in this space. We don't want to block people from getting information. That's not at all what the intent is. But we also need to have a process where we're transparent with the community about what their requests will be coming up against in a kind of procedural manner. So someone, gets an email from us saying, hey, look, it could be costing you this through this, or we could redefine. They're not going to be like, well, where'd that come from? Because we've got a policy that clearly sets out those requirements. And yeah, redefinement would always be a priority. Absolutely.
We have had a massive number lately. It's just been overwhelming, frankly. And it's involving staff, consultants, elected people. I mean, the management have to be all over it. It is huge. The cost of this is massive. Like, it's a lot more than 11. This is probably hundreds of thousands actually annually with what we're having to do now. And it's it's completely stupid for a small council. We just can't afford to keep going. Rob?
Just a point of clarification around proactive release. Just in terms of that, where they're being charged, the points covered off, and, I think this is a very good document, by the way. It's where it's covered off, and the council still has the right to proactively release something, even though it's.
When they get the letter that we will be proactively releasing this information.
They would still receive that information first,
Yeah.
and that information we would say we will ultimately proactively release this information, and then we'd take a window of time like 7 days, and then we would release it proactively. So it should stop the double ups of deployments essentially. So we get 6 people that ask us the same questions with very little niche changes, so we have to look at it differently. When actually they could all just be ultimately looking for the same.
The website.
They can look at that. Yeah. Councillor Archer and then Councillor Arms.
Is there legislation involved in the cost per page?
That is under our fees and charges.
Can we, which we've just approved?
Yeah.
Next year. But I thought there was, are we not told on copying costs as well, how much we can charge?
'Cause all I'm saying is the more we can counter the costs of Legoimus.
Most times, and through the chair, most times it's electronic. We don't have many that ask for paper responses.
Okay,
Very rarely.
Exactly.
right.
Thanks, my friend. For Legoimus, is us staff allocating their time, encoding their time to servicing or answering Legoimus? Are we doing it now, or have we been doing it going back some time?
Through the chair, we don't code time within council, but one of the first things that is asked of the staff member receiving the Legoima is an estimate of how long it will take you to respond to this. Knowing if you've got to go into archives or go into the safe to find old documents even, and they give an estimate of time, and that's what the charge will be based on.
And then if it's longer than that, we charge we must know.
We will charge real
Yeah.
time once we
Yeah.
know what it is, but we
The only reason I was asking is because in a previous life, in the previous role, I was had to record my time periods every 15 minutes. What
Well, they're every 6 minutes.
and we were accounting for our time in 15-minute blocks.
I have started just practicing recording my time, and it is astounding how long it actually takes to do the processes.
Yeah. They can do that. They can do it through their Outlook diary, actually. Just
Yeah.
put in what you're doing. Yeah.
Thank you, Chair. Just, anything in here for vexatious? I can see anything that deals with
Yeah,
that, how we approach that now.
So those types of Legoimas can be refused under the Act, essentially. So there is a section under the Act that if we believe it's a vexatious Legoima, we can then refuse on that basis. So we don't really need a process relating to those because we would just refuse it on the basis that it's vexatious. And I think it's like 7.G, something like that from the top of my head. So we would just refuse on that basis. So we wouldn't need to have it so much as part of the policy because it would just be a natural refusal.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to put the resolution, which we're all putting. All those in favour are against. Well done, Jess. Thank you for that.
second it.
That was moved by. Okay, we did it. Said no, was it?
Andrea.
Yeah. Yeah. Somebody, can't remember, Andrew, what's infrastructure appointments. Look, I just suggest we wait for the deputy chair until we know who's coming from Featherston. Are you all okay with that? And we appoint, Andrew as the chair. I'll move that. Second, Commissioner Archer. Those in favour, are against, Karen.
I'm abstaining.
Yeah, I'd vote against it if I were you.
I'll just abstain for the first time ever.
The channel more finances to infrastructure.
Yeah, it's going to be done.
Nothing.
The finance and infrastructure.
So we've got a few
I'm
reasons
biased.
here from the local government thing. I don't know why people still do remits. It's really old-fashioned way of doing things, isn't it? But they do. And we should just go, some of them will be easy, others we may not agree. The first one is dog control. Did you click on the link in your papers and look at
Yes.
this were?
Yeah.
I mean, most of these are pretty sensible, actually. So I think we all want greater dog control powers, don't we?
Yes.
So we're voting for that one?
Yeah.
Okay, regulation of vape retailers from Wairoa, this is. Yes, yes, are we happy with that? Financial support, gosh, yes, for local government reform. Okay, we have 2 votes on that one. Removal of representation review requirements during simplifying local government reform. And some of these like that and the financial sum are always being, they're being also, lobbied for by LGNZ to the government right now. They're talking to the government now about the LTP process, for example, which is pretty, representation review and LTP process. So we're happy with that one?
Yes.
Place naming authority to TAs instead of the Geo board. Ooh.
No.
Oh, that's interesting. Right. We're voting against, are we all happy to vote against that?
Yes.
Okay.
No.
I've different view, but who knows? Enhanced role for government. Oh, we better ask for a speech from Councillor Taylor. For
I know that's definitely a no, because if it was a yes, it leaves itself open to foreign interests to manipulate. Councillors.
Thank you. We all going to accept that advice from MFAT? Where are we? Bulk funding of transport activities. I don't know about this.
Yeah, I was unsure.
Do we want it bulk funded? I don't know. We want a better system than we've got now. We want more funding, actually, not bulk funding. I know.
I think the risk for us is that rural interests could get ignored
Exactly.
in the greater scheme of things.
Yeah.
If it's bulk funded, and urban areas would possibly get priority.
No. Yeah.
I was unsure, a bit like the mayor, but just sort of weighing it up. I thought.
I just think we should have more funding.
Yeah.
Well, it would be better not to have to go for every single. I must admit, like when we've had the storm, everything we have to ask this, ask and ask.
It's just that if it's a good example, that the mayor's just provided, if there is a storm and you need some emergency money, and they say, oh, everything's bulk funded, so it's gone, or the allocation's gone, it's elsewhere now.
Came from Waikato Regional Council. Interesting.
Why do they need bulk funding for they're funding that rail service from Hamilton through to Auckland, aren't they? They've funded that. That'd be about the only transport.
No, but they're doing. Yeah, well, the government's putting money into the roads.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. I have no idea what would be best for this one. I think I'd like to hear a debate on it, actually. So do you
Well,
want to just delegate your delegate to make a decision on the spot after talking to other people?
Well, they're saying here it's demonstrated strong performance in delivering public transport services and or maintaining transport infrastructure. Which is the last part of the wording of that remit.
Okay, what are we going to do, people? We're not going to waste a lot of time on
Staying
that.
against.
Oh, Rachel.
I mean, I was just going to make 2 points. The point that Aidan just made, you know, that it seems like it would be effective to be able to have and manage your money without the large amount of negotiation that seems to go on in this space. Not that I'm an expert, but you know, if you've got it, you can manage it in your own way with the bulk funding arrangement. And also, I'm kind of taking the point that maybe this is an advocacy piece, and there's the offer of a trial from some councils. So that seems like they're kind of stepping it out appropriately, and that seems like I'd be happy to support that myself.
Okay, so maybe we get some discussion at the conference about having a trial. Would you be happy with that?
Yeah.
See how, I'd kind of quite like to see how it would work. Okay. trial. Improving LTP audit requirements, yes, of course we will.
Yes,
That.
been woeful in the past.
And a fairer approach to uneconomic transport infrastructure funding. So no.
Yes,
We want a fairer approach, that means we get more money.
and this has been raised by another, rural,
Some rules.
rural district council, that probably has the same issues and struggles with infrastructure,
Exactly.
properties that we do.
Some of them are lucky, they've only got 18 bridges.
Yeah.
I reckon how many? I don't know.
Too many to count.
Too many to count, yeah. Okay, yes to that. Thank you all that. That's to say that our delegate will be me, go. And endorse those.
We need to prioritize.
Sorry.
We just need to, the remits.
Prioritise.
Yes.
Go list them.
We need to prioritize the remits.
So they ask you to prioritise the remits and then they decide which one.
Oh, I see.
Got
Sorry,
through.
sorry, yeah, yeah. Well, I don't know.
Well, 3 is obviously the first one, isn't it?
Yes.
Moment,
And then I mean, the
Representational review is also a
getting
big,
rid of those.
Yep.
Yeah, and then also,
the long-term plan audit requirements. I think it would ease the pressure.
that will be helpful. And then maybe the infrastructure fair approach to
Yep.
Yeah.
Trying,
4, and then, yeah, okay.
and I'd put 5, the devolution naming authorities, and the dog one.
People don't want that, so.
People don't want that.
For that, we're putting that.
the dog one,
Improve regulation of vape retailers.
Dog one's 5,
vaping's under dog.
vape is 6,
Yep.
and then 7 is the bulk funding of transport with a trial, and then 8 and 9 are the other 2. Okay.
5 and 2.
Okay, thank you. Right. Excellent, thank you, everybody. Mayoral report, oh yeah, I'm going away. This was put in my diary by myself a long time ago, probably at Christmas time, actually, before the
We've got this.
You've got looking for time.
before local government was even thought of to be reconsidered. And I thought July would be a good time because it'll be after the annual plan and it'll be a quiet time for the council. And it's only 2 weeks to see my grandchildren. So I'm going to move that we appoint deputy mayor as mayor, just because we don't want any more storms, but if we do, somebody has to sign the declaration. So that can be seconded by councillor Archer.
Do you appoint a acting deputy mayor?
You just need, the only reason legally you want an acting mayor is because they can sign the declaration here. Thank you. Public excluded. There's the resolution. We are. I moved it and Chris seconded. On the remits one, we did have do we have a mover and second for that?
I'll move it.
Thank you, Councillor Osby can second the remits one. Thank you. Have to close his vaping business if we. There's
Thought he was the fishmonger.
With a side hustle and
on the side.
all money in vaping.
Okay, we're gonna go into public excluded, of ourselves, so, that has to be moved and seconded.
Move that.
Thank you, moved by councillor, Aidan and Simone second. All those in favour are against, no carried. Do we want to have a break now? We've got Rachel on the thing. How long do we want to break for? Half an hour? Do we want lunch now?
Yeah, break.
This is lunchtime. Break.
Yeah.
We have
Yeah.
a lunch break. We'll call you, and we'll ring you when we're about to go back in. Is that all right?